Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic has been announced, and I for one can't stop thinking about all the mouth-watering possibilities that this game should be offering. Now, for me, the Old Republic has always been the era where Star Wars felt the most personal. Not because of the spectacle, but because it let me exist in the galaxy. It's where I first felt like my choices actually mattered in a Star Wars game. Now I know it's way off, but I don't care. I'm far too excited to just roll over now, so expect a wave of content, speculation, theories, my hopes for the game, features, villains, fan favourite characters being reintroduced. You know, we're going to tackle it all here on the channel. Today though, I want to discuss probably the most important thing in my eyes. And please share this around to anybody who you think would be interested, and drop a like, because we need to get this out there. We need to get this whole topic to the forefront of that studio's mind. Because if there's anything we want from this game, if there's anything that should be a non-negotiable in the eyes of us fans, it's character creation and player agency. Agree? That's got to sit right at the top of the list, right? And when I say player agency, I don't just mean dialogue wheels or cosmetic choices. Now, we all want those cosmetic choices in absolute spades. And helmets as well, as a little side note. Please, let's bring helmets. Player agency to me means decisions that shape relationships. Lock off paths, perhaps, and force you to live with the consequences. You know, agency only matters when it costs you something. Now please, as I said, pick it up on socials, let the internet do its thing. We need to demand this from Lucasfilm and Casey Hudson. You know, I borderline feel silly for making such a fuss about it, but you have to agree. For far too long, and not just in Star Wars, but in so many modern AAA RPGs or adventure games, player agency and creative freedom for the main character has been lacking, man. We used to see so much more of it, but now I feel like it's been swapped out for mo-capped actor performances, and that just is not gonna cut it with this game or this project in this era. But look, I get on the flip side why studios do it. A defined protagonist and a defined actor to play the protagonist is probably easier to market, easier to write for, and easier to showcase in trailers. But I don't know if you agree, but ease should never come at the cost of identity, especially in an RPG supposedly built on choice. We don't want to wear someone else's shoes. We want our main character to be the true avatar of ourselves in this galaxy, and in by far the most intriguing era in Star Wars history. Now, promises have already been made when it comes to this game. The fact that you have Casey Hudson returning, the director of Knights of the Old Republic, that right there is a promise in my eyes that we should expect a true successor to the old classic. A true successor, though, will only be a success if it allows for this freedom. And I'm talking about character creation much like that of Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now stick with me. You can say what you want about that title overall, but if there's one thing you can't knock it for, it's how your character translates on screen, and in especially the cutscenes. It's literally some of the best hair physics I've seen in any game, and that stuff does matter to me, in a way. I'm not saying replicate Veilguard's art style, but I think you get my point. And look, as an additional plea, though this is not a deal breaker by any means, it would be so awesome if you could play as a different species. I for one would love to walk the path of a Chiss, battling with the light or dark. Please, slam down below what species you'd love to play as, or are you just happy with the tried and true human? I for one think humans suck, so any chance to escape in elsewhere is the better. Anyway, there are truly only so many times I can switch Cal Kestis' hair and poncho loadouts before it gets tiresome. I love that game, but, you know, modern Star Wars games, it lacks. It just does. There's so much potential there. Where Outlaws failed to break into the wider Star Wars fandom, for many reasons. Fate of the Old Republic should really be aiming to transcend whatever's come before it, and confirming character creation right out of the gate, I think would calm a lot of nerves. And maybe even unite this fractured fandom somewhat. Wishful thinking, maybe. The fate of the Old Republic should rest on us, our character, our Jedi or Sith, depending on which path we choose. And speaking of the path we choose, I'm really looking forward to diving into those two paths and what that could look like in a future video, so, subscribe if you want to be alerted when that drops. Cool? Cool. Now, player agency is probably something I'm more confident in. I mean, go figure, they do state it in the press release, as the man himself, Casey Hudson, does say. Fates of the Old Republic represents an opportunity to explore a contemporary vision of a definitive Star Wars experience, using state-of-the-art technology in game design and an all-new story crafted specifically to deliver on the combination of player agency and immersion in Star Wars that was at the heart of KOTOR. So that's the big promise, isn't it? A promise that should only aim to deliver nothing but branching narratives, action and consequence, and choices you just can't come back from. We need that replayability. They've got a gold mine for it. Real agency would mean decisions that ripple outwards, choosing who lives or dies, which faction rises or falls, and which philosophy of the Force shapes the galaxy, knowing that some of those choices could possibly close doors forever. You see, I would love for this to be a new trilogy of games, not just a one-off tip of the cap to KOTOR. I want character relationships, galactic events, and the whole Force alignment to transfer over from game to game. If Mass Effect could do that all them years ago, or at least have the skeleton for it, there's no excuse when it comes to the most beloved gaming era in all of Star Wars. These devs have so much technology at their fingertips now, I just don't think it should be an excuse. It really shouldn't. Put the care, put the time in. Throw all the money at it in the world. Do everything you can, please. I like to think it's called Fate of the Old Republic for no other reason than that we are truly going to get to decide how this story unfolds. This feels like one of them rare moments where Star Wars could either play it safe like they have excruciatingly done so for so long now, or finally trust its audience again, be bold with some of the decisions. I just hope the bigwigs over at Disney don't meddle with it. They should just seriously let this passionate team of devs, led by the Chosen One himself, do what needs to be done. I don't think I'm out of place for saying this, but we need a big win, don't we? And if they play the cards right, returning to the Old Republic once again and putting players and the fandom first, this is the only way forward in my eyes. So at the risk of repeating myself, let's make it known to the devs. Do your thing. Let Archanuat Studios know that character creation is a non-negotiable, and that player agency needs to be more than just an empty promise. Because honestly, guys, we simply cannot afford for this to flop. If this game is truly about fate, then our hands should be firmly on the wheel. Don't you agree? Let me know below. Is there anything else you think should be at the top of the list over character creation? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I've shared mine. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, guys, and may the Force be with you all. Take care out there.